Hello Year 3 and welcome to today's maths video. Today's maths video is for Wednesday the 10th of February. Here is your Fluent in 5. If you have not had a go yet, please make sure you pause the video and have a go at the Fluent in 5. Set yourself a 5-minute timer and see how many you can do. I will go through the answers afterwards. So hopefully you paused the video and you've had a go at your Fluent in 5 independently. Let's have a look at the answers for today. 588 add 247. Now hopefully you did column addition for that method. Let's recap it just in case you're unsure. So 588 plus 247. So you'd start in the ones column. 8 add 7 is 15. Now 15 is made up of 5 ones and 1 10, so you regroup a 10 into the tens column. 8 add 4 is 12. Add the other 1 is 13. Add the other 1 10, sorry. So now you've got 13 tens. That's the same as having 103 tens. So you regroup your 100. 5 hundreds add 2 hundreds is 700. Add one other 100 is 800. So it's 835. With this one, you could have used your 5 times table knowledge. So you could have skip counted, for example, got your 8 fingers ready and counted up in 5s until you got to your 8th finger and you had 40. Or you could have drawn 5 groups with 8 inside and counted up the total. Here you've got a column subtraction, so 740, take away 162. Now hopefully you regrouped on this one because you can't start with 0 ones and subtract 2 of them. So you make your 4 tens, 3 tens, and then your 0 ones becomes 10 ones because you moved a 10 in. 10 take away 2 is 8. 3 take away 6 you cannot do, so you regroup your 700s into 600s, and then you have 13 tens, 13 tens take away 6 is 7, and then 6 take away 1 is 5. So hopefully you did that. And then lastly, 18 divided by 6 is 3. Now you may have been able to use your times tables knowing that 6 times 3 is 18, or you may have drawn 6 equal groups and shared your 18 until you ended up with 3 in each group. So well done if you got those correct. So now we're going to start a new topic. We are going to be moving on to fractions. So today is our first lesson on fractions, and we are going to be looking at learning to understand fractions. As always, I'd like you to have a go at these slides independently. So before I reveal the answers, make sure you've paused and had a think. So this is a Let's Learn, so this is one we do together. So, understanding fractions. Hardeep divides a square piece of paper into 4 parts. Each part has the same size. We say that each part is equal. Now, having equal parts is incredibly important in fractions. He can also divide the paper this way. So he could divide his paper into 4 equal parts this way, or he could divide his paper into 4 equal parts this way. Can you think of another way to divide the square piece of paper into 4 equal parts? I'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. This square piece of paper has not been divided into 4 equal parts. Each part does not have the same size, and we say that each part is unequal. So this isn't representing fractions, this is just representing a folded piece of paper, whereas this is representing a fraction. Can you think of other ways of dividing the square piece of paper into 4 equal parts? So have a look at this one quickly. Are these parts equal? Now hopefully you've noticed that they are not equal because they are not the same size. So up here it said, can you think of other ways to divide the piece of paper into 4 equal parts? Now for this, I've included this slide. There is either a square, if you're printing the slides, that you could cut that out and you could have a go at changing your square, or we've also got instructions here on how to fold an A3 piece of paper into a square. So you fold over one of the top corners in, so you've actually got a right angled triangle, then you snip the bottom off, and then once you open it up, you've got a perfect square. So if you'd like to have a go at that, cut out your square or make your square with a piece of A4 paper and have a go at folding it into as many different equal parts as you can so that you end up with 4 equal parts. So let's move on to question 3. Hopefully you've had fun playing around with folding pieces of paper and seeing how many different ways you can fold it to make 4 equal parts. So, which of these shapes have been divided into equal parts? So you need to look carefully at each one and think if all of the different parts are the same. If they are all identical, then it has been divided into equal parts. So make sure you've had a go first at thinking which ones, and then we will go through the answers together. So if we look at A, we can see we've got 1, 2, 3 parts. However, they are not equal because this part here in the middle is smaller, so they can't be cut into equal parts. Let's look at B. Now look, each piece has been divided into equal parts. They've gone exactly down the middle here and ended up with 2 larger parts. And they've cut that in half again, and then that in half again. They are all identical, so it has been divided into equal parts. Looking at C, I can see that each of these parts are identical to each other, and that means that it has been divided into equal parts. D, I can see that each of the 4 parts in D are identical, so it has been divided into equal parts. E, all of those parts are exactly the same, so all 6 parts are equal. And here I have folded it into 2 parts and they are equal, so it's only shape A that has not been divided equally. So what do we call it when we have all of our parts together? We call it one whole. So this sandwich is a whole sandwich. This cake is one whole too. And if we have our whole sandwich, that's where we can go with equal parts. We might cut our shape across the middle and have 2 equal parts of the same whole sandwich. Or we might cut our sandwich like that, and now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts of our whole sandwich. So this pizza is divided into 2 equal parts. Hopefully you can see there that it's been divided and cut down there. So the pizza is divided into 2 equal parts. If Maya eats the 2 parts, we say that she eats 2 out of 2 equal parts. And we write this as 2 out of 2 equal parts. And 2 parts out of 2 equal parts is the whole. If she eats both this piece and this piece, she has eaten one whole. If Maya eats only 1 part, we say that she eats 1 part out of 2 equal parts, and it is written this way. This is known as 1/2, and if you look at the pizza, if she eats only 1 of her 2 parts, she has eaten half of the pizza. And this is how we write a fraction, and this always means how many parts we had out of how many total equal parts there were. So let's look at writing some more fractions. Here we have got a rectangular cake, and it's cut into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 equal pieces. The whole is made up of 5 equal parts. So if we have the whole, we have 5 equal parts. 1/5 means 1 out of 5 equal pieces, equal parts. So here I've got 1 piece out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 equal parts. So that red part there represents 1/5 of our rectangular cake. If I was to use the whole thing and colour the whole thing in, then I would have 5 parts out of 5 equal parts, and then I would have had the whole. So again, this top one is how many out of how many whole equal parts. Let's look at question 6. The circle is divided into 4 equal parts. 1, 2, 3, 4. What fraction of the circle is shaded? Well, remember, the whole is made up of 4 equal parts. So hopefully you've had a go at filling this in. If you haven't, pause the video and have a go. So something part of the something equal parts is shaded. Well, look here, we've got 1 part out of 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts. So that means 1 out of 4 of the circle is shaded, and we call this a quarter. So if you have a whole shape and you've cut it into 4 equal parts, there are 4 equal parts, and you are looking at one of them, then that is how you write 1/4. You are looking at 1 out of 4 equal parts. Now Peter buys a pie. He cuts his pie into how many equal pieces? He eats 3 of the pieces. What fraction of the pie does he eat? Well, he has eaten 1, 2, 3 pieces out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So he has eaten 3 pieces out of 8 equal parts, because there were 8 equal parts in our whole. He has cut the pie into 8 equal parts. What fraction does he eat? Well, he eats 3 out of 8. And we call one of those, that one part, 1 out of 8, would be known as an eighth, 1/8. So this is known as 3/8. He has eaten 3 out of 8, 3/8. Question 10. What fraction of the circle is shaded? Well, now we're looking at quarters because there are 4 equal parts in total. And what fraction has been shaded? Well, 1, 2, 3. 3 of our 4 equal parts. So we call that 3/4. Because remember, if we cut it into 4 equal pieces, we call it quarters. Question 11. What fraction of the rectangle is shaded? So how many parts have we got in total? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have 8 parts in total. And how many pieces have been shaded? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the fraction of that shape that has been shaded is 5 parts out of 8 equal parts. And we call that 5/8. Don't worry if you're struggling with how to say it. As long as you understand what you're writing, that you have 5 shaded parts out of 8 equal parts, then for now that's brilliant. Your task for today is to draw a representation for each of these fractions and have a go at naming them. So here I've told you how to pronounce them. So this was 1/2, 1/3, 1/4, we don't say 1/4, 1/5, 1/6, 1/7, 1/8, 1/9, 1/10, 1/11, and 1/12. And what I'd like you to do is draw each one. So for example, you're drawing each fraction all the way up to a whole if you can. If you're finding it tricky, maybe just do each of these to begin with. So here I have drawn 1, 2, 3 whole parts, 3 equal parts, and I've shaded in one of them. So I've drawn 1/3. Then here I have shaded 2 parts out of 3 equal parts, so I've drawn 2/3. Then here I've drawn 3, shaded in 3 parts out of 3 equal parts, so I've got 1 whole or 3/3. And what I've done is I've provided you with some squared paper here for you to have a go at drawing these fractions. So if you were to draw a half, you would make sure that there were two equal pieces, 1, 2, and that you had shaded in one of those equal parts. Then if you were to do a third, you'd make sure that you had 3 pieces. Label that to half, and you have shaded in 1 out of the 3. So hopefully you understand what it is I'd like you to do. Then here is it. Let's explore. Hopefully you can see it. Good luck, and I hope it goes well.